In today's video, I'm going to teach you a guide how to create a tooltip. We're going to build a clean, reusable tooltip in Figma that appears when you hover over an element. By the end, you'll have a component with a default state and a hover state, linked together with a smooth interaction that you can test in presentation mode and reuse across your designs. Start by opening Figma and heading to the file where you want this tooltip to live. Make sure you can see the elements you want to use. A tooltip typically has two key parts: the target element, like an icon or button, and the tooltip itself, the small label or box that appears on hover. Keep both of these in mind as we set up the states. Select the frames that represent your tooltip states and convert them into a component. With your frame selected on the canvas, click Create Component. Turning your design into a component makes it easy to manage states and reuse the tooltip later. You'll know it worked when the purple component outline appears and the right-hand panel shows component controls. On the right side panel, click the plus icon to add a variant. Variants are how Figma stores different states of a component, exactly what we need for a default and a hover version. You'll see your component become a set with two tiles, typically side by side. One will be the first variant, the other the newly added one. Now set up the default state. In the first variant, hide the tooltip itself so that only the base element is visible. You can do this by toggling the tooltip layer's visibility in the Layers panel. This creates the Nothing Shown Yet state the user sees before hovering. The second variant should be the Visible Tooltip state, with the bubble, pointer, and any text displayed exactly how you want it. Make sure the first variant is marked as the default. Click on the variant property that says Default to confirm that the hidden version is what shows first. Keeping this labeled and organized helps avoid confusion later, especially if you add more states like focus or pressed. Next, switch over to the Prototype tab on the right side. You'll see a small circular plus node on the first variant. Drag that node from the first variant to the second variant. This draws a connection that tells Figma what should happen when someone interacts with the component. For the interaction trigger, choose while hovering. This makes the visible state of the tooltip appear when the cursor is over the component. It mirrors how tooltips typically work in real interfaces and means you don't have to click anything to see the effect. Now set up the animation. Select Smart Animate to have Figma interpolate between the two states. Smart Animate will smoothly fade or slide your tooltip in, as long as the corresponding layers share names and structure between variants. This is what gives you that polished, professional feel. No harsh pop-in, just a clean transition. Set the action to Change To. This tells Figma to switch between the variants of the same component rather than navigating somewhere else. With Change To paired with Smart, Animate, and the While Hovering trigger, you've defined the entire interaction. Hover shows the tooltip. Moving away returns to the default, all within one component. With the interaction in place, it's time to use your tooltip in a design. Open the Assets panel. This is where your new component lives. From here, drag your tooltip component onto the frame where you want it used. Place it near the element it explains, an icon, button, or any control that benefits from a short label or hint. Because it's a component instance, you can resize, position, or swap its content without breaking the interaction. Before you test, make sure the tooltip's anchor point is lined up correctly in both variants so Smart Animate knows how to transition. If you're animating opacity or position, match layer names exactly between variants for smoother motion. Keep your tooltip close to its trigger so the hover area feels natural and doesn't flicker as you move the cursor. Now jump into presentation mode to try it out. Click Present and hover over the component. You should see the tooltip appear on hover and disappear when you move away. If it doesn't animate as expected, double check that the trigger is set to while hovering, the action is changed to and smart animate is selected. Also verify that the variant you hid really has the tooltip layer turned off and that the visible variant has it turned on. Small mismatches in layer names can interrupt smart animate, so it's worth a quick look if the transition feels abrupt. Once the interaction feels right, you can reuse this tooltip anywhere in your file. Just drag additional instances from the assets panel or copy existing ones and adjust the text. Because it's all in a single component with variants, every instance inherits the same interaction and animation without extra setup. If you need small style tweaks, make them at the component level so all instances stay consistent. A few finishing tips for polish. Keep the tooltips text short and readable. Use comfortable padding around the text, and choose a subtle ease and duration so the animation feels responsive but not jumpy. If your background is busy, a light shadow or subtle border on the tooltip can improve contrast without overpowering the design. And that's it. You opened Figma, converted your frames into a component, added a variant for the hover state, hid the tooltip in the default variant, set the default property, linked the states in the prototype tab, chose while hovering with smart animate and change to, dragged the component from assets onto your frame, and tested everything in presentation mode. You now have a reusable interactive tooltip ready for production quality prototypes. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.